Welcome to another segment of Tom TV, where we bring ideas that truly matter to you, our viewers. Today we have the pleasure of interviewing one of SA's most influential women in business, Miss Farah Fortune of African Star Communication. Hi Farah, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for the very formal introduction. Maybe something really important.
Thank you so much for allowing us to interview you. So for the very few people who don't know who Farah is, please can you give us a glimpse into who Farah is?
I am the director of African Star Communications. We're a celebrity and corporate PR agency, as well as event management. We started in 2008 on 1,000 Rand, and that was pretty much what the company was, a laptop and a phone, and it's kind of gone from there. We've been privileged enough to have done some really good events. We did Dudu's wedding. We've done campaigns for the Confederation Cup for Coca-Cola. Ice Watch, we launched here as well. We've just recently done Ice Repair as well. We've got a number of events, but I always feel very privileged that people actually come to us to get their brands out.
So why PR Publicity? What is it about this industry that has captured your heart?
I'm very good at damage control. And I think a lot of PR is to do with it as well. It's also very ground level. I think with marketing, it's something that you put out there and people will see on a billboard or you open up a magazine and it's an ad, whereas PR is very much about getting people talking about your product or your brand and getting them and maintaining them talking about it. Yes. PR is also it's much more personal than marketing. It's more, instead of just sort of putting up something and hoping someone sees it, PR is very driven to your particular target market.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And I hear you are called the pit bull in heels. A term that's been given to you by some of your clients. As a woman in business, what are the challenges that you faced?
Just to clarify that pit bull in heels thing, I got that nickname from Dudu. She had this thing that, she always said to me, "You're like a pit bull but in heels," because I don't really wear flat shoes. I'm a very short person, so I have short person syndrome, so I always wear heels. And I think because I work in an industry that's very male dominated, to kind of mark my place and sort of mark my territory, you have to be very strong and very determined. But that's kind of where it came from. And I think any industry you need to have some sort of strength, and I think mine is just being a very straightforward person.
Yes. Yes. I'm a true supporter of women who set their goals and go after them, and I know that there are a lot of young women who not only want to follow in your footsteps, but would actually like to have advice from you one-on-one. Yeah. Having said that, are you involved in any mentorship programs for young ladies that are within this industry?
Not at the moment. I am invited to do a lot of inspirational talks and motivational talks. I gave a talk at the Cape Town Entrepreneur Week last year. I would like to be involved in more programs. I'd actually like to run workshops for young women. Yes. Not just to kind of give them a talk and say, this is how I did it, but to actually help them not just get into PR, but get into anything they really want to. I think our biggest thing in this country is, we're very on par with men in terms of our abilities to do a lot of things. However, our pay grades are not, and our recognition is not. I feel it's quite sad that you have to be a woman to be recognized in your field. It should be, I'm a great business person. It shouldn't be, I'm a great businesswoman. And I think that's the saddest part about it. Yeah.
Very, very true. Many have the dream of starting their own empires and their own businesses. And having started African Star from the bottom, what advice would you give to any person, but specifically young people, about entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship is very hard. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. It's something that you have to be so determined to do if you're going to run your own business. I didn't have any savings when I started my business. I literally got my paycheck, I quit my job, and I paid my bills, and I had 1,000 Rand left really to spend on whatever, and that's how I registered my business and had some little business cards made, and that was pretty much it. I had a laptop and a cell phone, and I had no office. And I kind of worked for the first 6 months kind of out of my bedroom, out of my living room, and that was all I had. But I think the thing about entrepreneurship is you've got to remember that most of the time, for probably the first year, you can't pay yourself a salary. So, you know, if I look back at it now, I would say if I knew then what I knew now, it would be like, you know what, maybe I should have saved. But I think the fact that I didn't made me more determined, because there would be times where I'd be like, you know, you'd open the fridge and it's kind of smiling at you saying, when are you going to feed me? And that doesn't happen.
Yes.
And you sacrifice a lot. You have to be very determined, but I think the fact that when you don't have a backup, it kind of drives you more.
Yes.
And I've, you know, the research I've done and the reading I've done in business and entrepreneurship, most people, you know, that have made it work really in those situations, it's not really, you know, the money that drives you, it's your passion. And it's the same thing my mom said to me when I started this business. She said, you know, if you're going to do this for money, you're going to fail. You know, she said, you have to have a passion for what you're doing. And I never realized how true those words are. But sitting here almost 5 years later and being in a better position, not just financially, but within my field, and actually having that respect for my peers has really made it worth it.
Yes.
Although in this country we're not very supportive of entrepreneurship because we don't have a lot of programs that back up, nor do we have grants, nor do we have sponsorships that provide, you know, businesses to get off the ground, and it's so hard to get a loan from a bank. So you've kind of got to be like, this is it, this is what I can give, and I'm going to make it work.
It's the passion. Talking about passion, I know that you love the line, love what you do and do what you love.
I do.
And is that what has driven you to just go after what you want?
Very much so. But I also think the fact that, you know, I have a daughter, I'm a single mom, and obviously that makes a world of difference being a parent and knowing that you have to support somebody. But I think also the fact that I have a daughter, and you know, I want her to know how you really can achieve. I know it sounds so cheesy and so cliche, and I really apologize, but you know, you've got to go out there and you've got to get it and by yourself. There aren't a lot of opportunities to really be what you want in this world, and you've got to make it.
Yes, yeah, very true. In closing, Farah, what is in the future for Farah? What are you yet to achieve?
I mean, we have an office now in Nigeria, and we're almost 2 years old today, and we're almost 5 years old here. My next steps are really going into Africa. I have no interest in America or Europe. I think that the future is here, and if we don't build it within our continent, we have one of the most resourceful continents in the world, and a continent that is so under-recognized for, you know, everything from music to our resources to the amazing minds and education systems we have in a lot of our countries. I would like to pursue that more. I'd like to see Africa be that continent, that place that everybody looks to kind of say, you know, the best musicians come from there, the best minds come from there, the artists, the business people, the resources, and we have the ability to do that, and I want to be around long enough to see that happen.